The foreseeable forecast looks treacherous. A storm threatens large swaths of our country. Now is the time to get prepared. Here are some considerations for when preparing for an ice storm. Check in on your neighbors, not after the storm, but before. Learn names, learn stories, learn who might need a knock on the door and who might need someone to keep an eye out for them. Storms reveal what isolation can hide. Expect closures. Schools may shut their doors. Shops and workplaces may go dark, not because people don't want to show up, but because the conditions outside make showing up dangerous. Learn from other cities. Places like Minneapolis and Chicago have seen this before, and as they struggle through the storm, they are learning. There are preparations to make, policies to put in place. There are best practices to follow. If your elected officials have failed to address the ice, call them, hold them accountable. Storms become disasters when leaders refuse to plan or insist that danger is not real. And if you find yourself out there confronting the ice head on, know that protection matters. Protect yourself. Limit exposure. No one should be harmed simply for moving through their own neighborhood. Stay alert, stay connected, and don't wait for the storm to decide how you are going to respond. It's cold out there. Stay warm. As a young man from Minnesota once sang, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. Trust your ears. Trust your eyes. What is happening in our world is not normal. What is happening on our streets is not right. But God's people have seen this story before. God's people who gather in synagogues and churches and mosques and temples. God's people hear the cries of the oppressed and are answering the moral call to confront tyranny. God's people are descending on Minneapolis, not like locusts, but like angels, to raise their voices like the blast of a shofar, declaring, this is not normal, this is not right. They'll speak to the locust. We do not want this. Get out now. This morning, I had the blessing and opportunity to join a local prayer gathering at the Episcopal Cathedral on the Common. Hundreds of faith leaders, clergy and lay leaders alike, were there to show our moral courage and in our own way broadcast our support to the faith leaders who are gathering in Minneapolis. As our song sheet proclaimed, it was a room full of gentle but angry people. We listened to the live stream of Voices on the Ground as they shared their experiences of this, quote, spectacle of cruelty. But also they shared the beauty and resilience of their resistance. And we prayed for our own community, knowing far too well that harm may escalate here in Massachusetts. And we made plans to march to the State House, to speak to the governor about public action, to defend Massachusetts from federal malfeasance. And judging by her remarks at the State of the Commonwealth, she may have known we were coming. But before marching, we needed fuel for the righteous fire. Because sincerely, how are you going to love your neighbor if you don't know your neighbor? So we were asked to turn and greet a new friend, to share what brought us into the room, to share what we loved about our faith, our people, and to share where we feel pain and struggle in this moment, and finally to bless one another. My neighbor was a man named John. He's close to 80 years old. He was born in Cuba. He lived in Georgia. He's currently in Watertown, but his bilingual church is in the South End. He wore a black face mask to keep himself and others safe, but it couldn't hide his piercing blue eyes and his very sincere smile lines. He told me that his congregation was small, but that they run a robust youth program which serves the neighborhood after school. It was not under attack yet, but they are not naive to the risk. And I told him about all of you. I told him about our congregation that lives our Jewish values, how we lean into interfaith opportunities, especially around justice, how some of us are scared or angry, some of us are fired up or frozen. And we both agreed, if not now, when? And then we blessed each other. And friends, I have been blessed to have been blessed by some incredible people over the years. But John's warm hand on my shoulder was the only thing in the moment keeping me from floating off the ground. And as we looked up from our individual moment, we saw a room full of huddled pairs and trios of all shapes and sizes and colors, hands held, arms around one another, hands bowed or lifted in prayer to the many names of a great and merciful God, wishing strength, courage, comfort, and peace on the uncertain journey which lies ahead. If that wasn't holy, I don't know what is. Many of the familiar faces in the room I recognized from the Greater Boston Interfaith Organization. This is an organization that understands the current assignment. The sacred relationship building is at the core of GBIO's organizing. Connect, organize, and act together. And if you have not had the sacred experience of looking into someone's eyes while they share their story, while they envision the world as it should be, or for you to be heard and held as you share yours, you simply must. This is what justice looks like. This is what resilience looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is what living Judaism together looks like. And good news, you can start tonight. After services, I invite you to join our GBIO core team for a listening session. We're going to meet in Slater to share stories, concerns, and hopes for the future. And I promise you, you will be glad that you came. And there will be more listening opportunities. We had to cancel one on Sunday for the snow, but that won't slow us down much. We'll keep you posted. And I also want to invite you to tap into our immigrant justice team, who offers many opportunities for righteous impact, trainings and lobbying and rallying and volunteering and more. The sacred relationship building is an action within our reach. So start here and keep growing. I've got more to say on the subject, and I'm sure that you do too. We are in this all together, so please let's keep talking. In this week's Torah portion, the plague of darkness descends on Egypt. It is a physical and dense darkness, so debilitating that people cannot move from their homes. And as it reads, Lo ra'u ish et achiv, they could not see one another. Actually, the Hebrew is even stronger than that. They could not see their kin. What we are witnessing, what we are fighting against, is not a blackout. It is a moral collapse. And this morning at the church, Reverend Mariama White-Hammond put the responsibility on all of us. She said that the problem is that we as a nation are failing to understand who we are called to be in this moment. We are called to be God's people. The Egyptians could not see the other, but the Israelites had light emanating from within them. Ulchol b'nei Yisrael haya or. God's people have a light to guide them in the darkness. You have a light for this moment. For the love of God, now is the time to spread your light. Shabbat shalom.